So, let's just get right into it. When you hear the phrase artificial intelligence, what exactly pops into your head?
Right, yeah.
Because for you listening right now, you are probably picturing, um, I don't know, chatbots drafting your emails, or maybe algorithms writing lines of code, or generating those weird, hyper-realistic images.
Usually too many fingers.
Exactly, always too many fingers. But today, we are looking at something entirely different. We are exploring how AI is actively sitting shotgun in plumbing vans, in local delivery trucks, even inside heavy construction equipment.
Yeah.
And in the process, it's completely rewriting the economics of driving.
It really is a quiet revolution. I
Yeah.
mean, it's happening right now on the highways and the city streets that you drive on every single day, and most people have absolutely no idea it's even going on.
Exactly. And that is really our mission for today's deep dive. We've got a stack of reports here on the economic edge of AI fleet telematics. And our goal is to uncover exactly how AI-powered dash cameras are stepping up as this totally unexpected but incredibly powerful weapon against skyrocketing commercial insurance costs.
Because for commercial vehicle operators, this isn't just some abstract Silicon Valley tech trend. This is quite literally about business survival.
Think about the everyday relevance here for a second. If you run a fleet of HVAC vans, or say you manage a regional plumbing business, or you oversee a dozen construction vehicles, your profit margins have been getting squeezed tighter and tighter for years by these climbing insurance premiums.
Oh, absolutely. It's brutal.
It is one of those overhead costs that just keeps going up year after year, and it feels entirely out of your control. You just write the check. But now, based on the data we are looking at today, fleets are finally fighting back.
And they are fighting back with hard data. We need to be clear right up front. This isn't just about sticking a passive camera on a dashboard to record an accident after it already happened.
Right. The old dash cams.
Right. The big picture here is that these neural networks are actively predicting and preventing accidents from happening in the first place. It is fundamentally changing how risk is calculated by the people holding the purse strings.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to truly appreciate how revolutionary this shift is, we need to understand the old way versus the new way. How has commercial fleet insurance traditionally worked before AI entered the chat?
Historically, insurance underwriters have had to price risk based almost entirely on historical claims data. It's a trailing indicator.
Like driving by looking in the rearview mirror.
Exactly like that. Basically, an actuary looks at what happened in the past. They look at how many accidents your fleet had over the last 5 years, how many claims were filed, the total cost of those claims.
Right.
And they use that rearview mirror perspective to guess how risky you will be to insure next year. It's a highly educated guess, relying on vast pools of statistical data, but at the individual fleet level, it's still a guess.
Right, so they are basically penalizing you today for the ghost of what your drivers did 3 years ago.
Exactly. What has changed now is that AI dash cameras provide real-time, verifiable proof that a fleet is actively managing its current risk profile. You aren't just sitting across a desk telling your insurance broker that you hold, monthly safety meetings. You are proving your safety metrics minute by minute, mile by mile.
The technology under the hood here is what really blows my mind. Because again, we aren't talking about a basic off-the-shelf action camera taped to a windshield. The reports we are looking at detail how modern AI dash cameras are essentially supercomputers mounted on the glass.
Yeah, they really are.
They are running dozens of complex neural network models simultaneously.
And they are doing it using edge computing. That's a crucial distinction. Instead of taking all this heavy video data and beaming it up to the cloud to be processed,
Which takes a ton of time.
right, it takes time. It requires a constant cellular connection, and it introduces lag. But instead of that, the camera itself is making the calculations right there on the device. It's processing the visual data at the edge of the network instantly.
That makes total sense because it has to be instant. The sources lay out exactly what these models are looking for. They are mapping facial features to detect distracted driving. They are tracking eye movements to pick up on drowsy behavior.
They can even calculate distance to tell if a driver is tailgating.
Yes. They measure the G-force of hard braking, and they can even detect the specific hand movements of phone usage. And here is the kicker for you listening. It does all of this without requiring a manager to sit in a back office and manually scrub through 8 hours of boring dashboard footage, hoping to catch a mistake. The AI is doing the watching, the analyzing, and the flagging in real time.
What's fascinating here is the immediate impact this has on driver behavior. When a fleet implements this technology, they are able to open up a dashboard for their insurers, demonstrating a 60 to 80% reduction in distracted driving incidents.
Wow.
And that isn't a gradual decline over 5 years. That massive drop happens within just the first 90 days of deployment.
Wait, 60 to 80% in 3 months? That sounds almost too good to be true. How much of that is the AI actually coaching them? And how much of it is just the psychological Hawthorne effect? Drivers behaving better simply because they know the boss finally installed a camera?
It's definitely a combination of both initially. The psychological effect gets them to put the phone down on day one, but the AI is what sustains it because it catches the subconscious habits.
All right.
A driver might not even realize how often they drift out of their lane when they adjust the radio or how closely they tailgate in heavy traffic, and the AI points it out every single time. And that consistent objective feedback is an actuary's dream.
Because they want predictability.
Insurers love predictability, and they desperately want to see mitigated risk. When an underwriter sees that kind of verifiable drop in risky behavior, they take notice because the fleet is giving them hard data that actuaries can actually plug into their risk models.
And that data translates into real dollars and cents. Which brings us to the ROI. Because the math here is where this deep dive goes from, oh, that's some cool tech, to this is an absolute business necessity. Let's look at the macro trend first. If we pull from the 2026 Verizon Connect Fleet Technology Trends Report, the numbers show a massive surge.
Yeah, the adoption rates are wild.
Video telematics adoption has jumped to 46% across commercial fleets. That is up 10 full percentage points since just 2023. Plus, a staggering 80% of fleet professionals are now using GPS tracking.
In the world of B2B hardware adoption, a 10-point jump in 3 years is a vertical line. Businesses do not adopt hardware, train their staff on it, and pay monthly subscriptions at that speed unless the return on investment is highly measurable and, in this case, immediate.
Let's make this micro for a second so you can really visualize the impact on a typical business. Let's say you own a mid-sized local operation. You've built a 20-truck fleet over the last decade. According to the industry averages, you might be spending $180,000 annually just on commercial auto insurance.
Just to exist.
Right. That is a massive chunk of overhead just for the right to put your trucks on the road every morning.
It's often one of the top 3 highest expenses on a fleet's profit and loss statement, right behind fuel and payroll.
Exactly. Now, fleets that are deploying this modern video telematics tech are reporting premium reductions of 5 to 20%. So let's do the math for your hypothetical 20-truck fleet. A 5 to 20% reduction on a $180,000 premium means $18,000 to $36,000 saved.
That is huge.
That isn't just a deferred cost. That goes directly to your bottom line every single year. Think about what $36,000 means to a small business. That's the lease on a brand new vehicle. Or hiring a new dispatcher. Or just pure profit.
And that is just the savings from the insurance discounts. It is really worth noting that many insurance carriers are now offering these discounts proactively to fleets that agree to use video telematics. The insurers want you to use this tech so badly that they're willing to subsidize the adoption through lower rates.
Right, but you still have to buy the cameras and pay for the software. So let's look at the actual cost versus those savings. Take another example from our sources. A mid-size fleet of 30 vehicles. A typical AI dash camera deployment is going to run about $30 to $50 per vehicle per month. When you extrapolate that out for the entire fleet of 30 vehicles over a year, that comes out to roughly $12,000 to $18,000 annually.
So your total subscription and hardware costs are, at the absolute high end, $18,000 a year for those 30 vehicles. That's basically the cost of a couple of coffees per driver each month.
Exactly. Now contrast that $18,000 cost with the savings of preventing an accident. The data shows that preventing just one at-fault accident saves a fleet anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000.
Yes.
And that isn't just the cost of bending metal and replacing a bumper. That is factoring in the insurance deductibles, the legal fees, the medical claims, the downtime of having a truck in the shop, and the inevitable punishing premium increases that follow an at-fault accident.
The compounding cost of a single accident is staggering.
You spend $18,000 to outfit the entire fleet for a year, and you avoid a single accident that would have cost you up to $150,000. Because of this dynamic, layered on top of the proactive insurance discounts we just talked about, This system often completely pays for itself within the very first quarter of the year.
It is a remarkable economic equation.
I mean, how often in business do you buy a piece of hardware, install it, and see it literally pay for itself in 3 months? It just doesn't happen.
It's extremely rare. And that immediate payback period is exactly why we are seeing that massive 10% spike in adoption from the Verizon report. But the financial savings from the insurance premiums and the bent metal are really only half the story when it comes to the economic edge.
Here's where it gets really interesting because we have to shift the conversation from just basic insurance premiums to legal liability. And for anyone operating a commercial vehicle right now, the legal landscape has become genuinely terrifying.
Terrifying is exactly the right word. We have entered an era where what the industry calls nuclear verdicts are becoming increasingly common in commercial vehicle accidents.
We're entering an era of nuclear verdicts. These are jury awards in a commercial vehicle accident that exceed $10 million. $10 million. For a lot of the plumbing, HVAC, or local delivery companies we were talking about, a $10 million judgment isn't just a financial setback, it is a catastrophic business-ending event. It wipes out everything you've built.
And this is where the AI dash cameras transition from being a safety tool to being the ultimate legal defense. They act as an objective, unbiased witness in every single incident. Let's imagine a scenario. You own an HVAC company. Your driver, John, is driving basically down the highway under the speed limit, keeping his distance. Suddenly, a passenger sedan swerves into his lane and slams on the brakes, causing a massive rear-end collision.
Which happens all the time.
All the time. Without a camera, it is John's word against a sympathetic plaintiff who might claim John was tailgating or looking at his phone. Historically, commercial fleets lose those battles in court because juries tend to side against the big, heavy commercial truck.
Sure.
But with an AI camera, the video clears him instantly. It proves he wasn't distracted, it proves he was maintaining a safe distance, and it proves the other driver was at fault. That video serves as undeniable exculpatory evidence. It protects fleet operators from fraudulent claims like staged accidents or exaggerated injuries. Having that proof can literally mean the difference between a claim being entirely dismissed on day one and your business getting hit with a business-ending nuclear judgment.
The liability shield is huge. But what really jumped out at me from our sources is how this tech actually changes the driving itself. It's not just catching bad things after they happen, it is actively creating a safety culture. When you look at the data Samsara just put out in their latest fleet safety report, the safety impact is wild. They found that AI-enabled fleets reduce their crash rates by nearly 75% over a 30-month period. 75%.
That is not a marginal improvement.
Yeah.
When you cut your crash rate by 3/4, that is a fundamental structural shift in your fleet's safety economics. And the mechanism for how that happens is vital to understand. It all comes down to the psychology of driver coaching.
So how does that coaching work in practice? Because I imagine drivers absolutely hate the idea of a camera watching them all day.
Initially, there is always pushback. Nobody wants a boss looking over their shoulder. But the implementation matters. Because the AI is detecting risky behavior in real time, the tailgating, the phone usage, it flags those incidents. The best systems actually give an audio alert in the cab right in the moment. It beeps to let the driver know they are following too closely. That creates instant muscle memory correction.
So it's not a manager yelling at them, it's just a machine gently nudging them to back off.
Precisely. And if a larger pattern emerges, the manager gets an alert. So instead of a manager waiting for a catastrophic accident to happen to realize, oh, John has a terrible habit of texting while merging, they can address it proactively. They can pull John aside for a quick, targeted coaching session using the video as an objective teaching tool before an accident ever occurs.
It shifts the entire dynamic of management from punishment to prevention.
It does. And from a legal standpoint, this proactive approach creates a highly documented safety culture. If you do end up in a courtroom, you can show a jury a paper trail proving that you actively monitor, coach, and improve your drivers. But internally, what's really surprising is that it actually improves driver retention.
Wait, really? Having cameras in the cab improves retention?
Yes, because the system relies on objective data and targeted coaching rather than subjective favoritism or waiting to punish someone after a crash. Drivers often feel more fairly treated. Plus, the moment that camera exonerates a driver who was falsely accused in an accident, the entire fleet's attitude toward the technology flips overnight. They realize the camera is there to protect their commercial driver's license just as much as it's there to protect the company's bottom line.
So, what does this all mean? If you are a listener out there, maybe you're an operations manager, or you're prepping to pitch a modernization plan to your boss, or you run your own fleet and you want to evaluate this technology, our sources are very clear that not all dash camera systems deliver the same results. What are the exact capabilities you need to be looking for to actually get these insurance discounts?
Based on the reports, there are three key pillars you absolutely must focus on when evaluating these systems. First, if you're looking at this, you need real-time AI detection. This is critical. You do not want a passive legacy system that only records video onto an SD card for post-incident review. The real economic value, the safety improvements that insurers actually reward, comes from edge computing systems that can alert drivers and coach behavior in the moment before the bumper ever gets dented.
Right, you need active prevention, not just a passive security camera. That's the only way you get that 75% drop in crashes. What's the second capability to look for?
The second pillar is integration. The AI dash camera system must integrate seamlessly with your existing GPS tracking platform. The most effective safety programs out there combine the location data, the vehicle's engine diagnostics, the driving behavior analytics, and the video evidence all into a single, unified ecosystem.
So you aren't logging into 4 different software portals just to figure out what happened on a Tuesday.
Exactly. When you have that complete single pane of glass visibility, it gives you, as a manager, the control you need. And importantly, it gives the insurers the comprehensive, heavily documented risk data they need to justify giving you those massive premium reductions.
A single source of truth. Makes total sense. And the third capability.
The third is looking at insurer partnership programs. When you're talking to these AI dash camera providers, you need to ask them directly if they have established relationships with major insurance carriers. The best providers in this space don't just sell you the hardware. They can actually help facilitate the conversation with your insurance company about premium adjustments based on the safety data the system is going to collect.
They basically act as a data broker between you and the actuary. So to bring this all together, the ultimate takeaway from this deep dive is incredibly clear. Fleet insurance does not have to be this uncontrollable black hole expense that you just complain about every year when the renewal bill comes. The technology has matured to a point where passive recording is completely dead. Active, AI-driven insurance cost reduction tools are the new standard.
And the cost of inaction is steep. With 80% of fleet professionals now using GPS tracking and video telematics adoption accelerating past 46%, the industry is moving incredibly fast.
Which means the fleets that are not adopting AI dash cameras are leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table every single year. And worse than that, they are increasingly going to be the ones left carrying the burden of the highest insurance premiums, effectively subsidizing the safer AI-enabled fleets. For those of you listening, whether you are managing a fleet, advising a business, or you're just a curious learner who loves understanding the hidden gears of how our economy actually works, this right here is a masterclass in how proactive technology isn't just good practice, it's incredibly good business.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this raises an important question. We've seen how perfectly these AI neural networks monitor risk. We see the 75% drop in crashes. We see the 80% drop in distracted driving. We see the undeniable massive financial savings for commercial plumbing vans and delivery trucks. So how long will it be until personal car insurance companies look at this exact same math and start mandating this kind of real-time AI monitoring inside our own personal vehicles? And when that day comes, will the financial savings on your personal auto insurance be worth the total loss of your driving privacy?
Oof, now that is something to chew on next time you get behind the wheel. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we will catch you on the next one.